Yeah. It works.
It works.
It's a success.
It works good, man.
Go ahead, give it a shot. It's fantastic. Welcome to Firearms of America. Today I'm here back in Shooters in Fort Myers, Florida, right off Hanson here in Fowler. Make sure you visit sometime. About to do the review, a very special review of another Glock. Yes, always happy to review a Glock, but today it's not a regular Glock review. No, today it's actually a special kind of Glock review. VA Glock 17. Yes, Glock from Valentine Arms, and this model is called Threshold. Yes. All right. So let's put a few rounds through this, and we'll see what it can do. While I'm loading the magazine, this is actually, as you can see, there's an extension. This magazine comes with extension. So on top of your standard 17 rounds in a Glock 17, you have 2 extra rounds in this particular magazine. So 19 plus 1 in the chamber, 20 rounds. Not too shabby. And we're almost there. Now, if you are not familiar with Glocks, just in case if you're not, this the new Generation 5 magazine, which is the same as Generation 4. The only thing is different is the follower. You probably noticed it was orange compared to black in the Generation 4. So we got 5 rounds. Got our gun here. Let me not forget the ear protection this time, as I usually do. And we'll do some shooting. All right, very easy to rack. And as you can see, all the targets are destroyed, so I'll just shoot in the orange in the very center. So, let's start from the very beginning. Of course, we have our grip here, and as you can see, it was stippled. And somebody's calling me in the wrong time. My brother Darren. Shout out to Darren if you're watching this. And also shout out to my brother Mauricio, who's over here recording this video on his phone while I'm recording this. But let's get back to the gun, all right? We have our grip, and as you can see, it was stippled here. This is level 1. Aggression level of stippling that the company does, Valentine Arms. And you can see this is actually hand stippled. Now, I have to say, this looks very particular, okay? For a lot of people, this will look ugly, all right? This is not a fancy stippling, not fancy laser stippling. But here's the thing. Here's a very special thing about hand stippled guns. The aggression on these guns is the best kind of aggression on the grip of all the guns, of all the grips that I have tried. It's just as good as the G10 aggression on your typical 1911 steel front of the grip. This is just as good, if not better. And obviously, because it is hand stippled, it's going to be very, because the pattern is very unique, it just sits and grips into your hand very nicely. So it's very easy to control the recoil. And speaking of the recoil, there's really barely any recoil in this gun at all. A few things that have been upgraded to this gun, we're moving on further, is the guide rod. And as you can see, this is not your standard Glock guide rod. This is actually a steel guide rod from Rival Arms. And it has a tougher spring. All right, so racking the slide is a little bit tougher in a way compared to your typical Glock that did not have the guide rod upgraded, but still very easy, still very manageable. But you definitely do notice a big difference whenever it comes to the recoil management. Now, while we are still in the grip, you probably noticed there is a mag well here, which makes it easier and more intuitive for you to stick in the magazine. Obviously, with the Glock magazine, they're all, as you can see, slimmed, trimmed down at the very top, already in mind to make it easy to get it into the magwell, but here with the magwell, obviously upgraded, you have much easier. This one actually is from Terran Tactical. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it because it's it seems like it's nicely built, but the coloration, as you can see, is a little bit weird on this one. But again, so is the hand stippling. It does not look good. The magwell does not look good, but this is a gun. It's not supposed to look good. It's supposed to be practical. All right, moving on a little further, we have our mag release. It's a standard mag release from the Glock. Nothing upgraded, still the same, except the other side over here. You know, I'm pretty sure this is typically stippled on their other models. I don't know why it hasn't been stippled over here. Probably because I forgot to do that. But it definitely will be stippled, so just in case. And if obviously if you're familiar with Glocks, the mag release is reversible. So if you're a lefty, this is not ambidextrous, but it is reversible and you can make it lefty friendly. Speaking of being lefty friendly, not leftist friendly, lefty friendly, all right? It's a big difference. It's a big difference. We are moving on to the slide release. And the slide release, as you can see, while it does look like a standard Glock slide release, it is actually not. This slide release is from some kind of works. I forgot the name of the company. I'll put it in the description below if you're interested. But it is not only extended, it is also raised. All right, so your standard Glock slide release would be sitting down here. This one is up and extended back. So for people like myself with ridiculously short fingers, right? It's very easy. I mean, you really don't have to worry about, and then there you go. So one hand operation without any problems. And it is ambidextrous. Now, one concern that I had with this particular slide release is that it's gonna affect your grip, you're racking the slide basically, because, you know, obviously if you're doing it like this, you know, yeah, it doesn't matter. But the way I do it is always like this. So whenever you grab it, your finger go over the slide release. However, you still can easily slide through over, your fingers kind of slide through the slide release, right? So definitely works. All right, so let's put some 5 more rounds through this gun, and then we're gonna move on further. Okay, so obviously another thing that you noticed that was different about this particular Glock, the VA Glock, right? Valentine Arms Glock, is the barrel. The barrel is a match grade barrel from Rival Arms. Again, Rival Arms, I love that company. So far, all the products that I have used from them, they have been top of the line, including this barrel. As you can see, it is a match grade barrel. It is threaded, your standard threading, so it's compatible with most of the silencers. And while we're speaking of the attachments to the barrel, whether it is a silencer or a compensator, whatever you put it on here, the sides here, which we will talk about later, are silencer ready, as you can see, because they are extended. Yes, so if you put the silencer on it, it's not gonna block your sides, which I see a lot of times. I don't know why some manufacturers do not pay attention to that, but they did over here. Okay, so 5 more rounds, and I'll try to hit that orange top. And we gotta lock back on the last round. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention here while we are talking about the lock back. A lot of times, especially if you have the competition shooters background like myself, if you're learning from the competition shooting, if that's your primary source of knowledge or whatever, how you grip, how you shoot, right, how you aim, a lot of times what you will experience as a user, as an operator, is you will have that last round, the slide is not locking back on the last round because, especially on the Glocks, because your grip of your left arm, all right, of your left hand, no, of the right hand, your thumb is resting typically on the slide release. So it's pressing down because this is really the grip. This is what we do in a competition. This is a competition grip and really is considered the best, most practical, most comfortable, most recoil manageable, if that makes sense, grip that you can use, all right? And it's the thumb of the right hand resting, depends on if you're a right-hand shooter or a left-hand shooter, resting on the slide release. Here, you're not gonna have that problem because the slide release is actually raised. So it's good for competition shooting, and obviously it is good for a tactical shooting as well, because you don't have to worry that your slide is not gonna be, you know, not gonna lock back on the last round. Okay, so done with that. Let's talk a little bit about the sights, and we're gonna talk back about the trigger. Let me double check that there's nothing here. All right, you can't multitask, talk and check stuff at the same time. So we got our raised sights. These are the Truglo sights. They are night and day, so they are compatible, not compatible, they are, they work in the complete darkness. And let me actually turn off the light so that I can show you how that looks. I can see nothing now, absolutely freaking nothing. But here we go. Where's my gun? Ah, there it is. Oh, you can easily find the gun because the sights glow in the dark. Yeah, there we go. Ha! That looks awesome. Yeah, so even in the night, when you cannot see your target, you can still see the sights of your gun. Now, let's see if I can find my way back. There we go, thank you. Hold on, there you go. Back in distance. So, and I have to say these sights are much better than the standard Glock sights. Now, I'm not talking down on the Glock sights, but I'm not a huge fan, you guys know, of that weird white bar that goes in the bottom of the back of the rear sight. Here is not the case. It's your regular 3-dot sight, and because the front, it has orange in it, it makes it much easier to lock on target. Also, you can see obviously that there were plenty of modifications done to the slide as well. The cutouts, obviously, besides aesthetics and looking good, they also serve as a weight reduction because, as you know, the standard Glocks, the slide and the barrel is the heaviest part of the Glock. So here, because there are these cutouts in the slide, it's not only lighter, but the weight distribution is much better, because if you do have, especially if you do have the rounds in the magazine, your weight, it kind of distributes proportionally throughout the gun and concentrate more here closer to your hands, which makes it again much easier to handle the recoil. And obviously you probably noticed there is also an MOS cutout, so you can put your favorite red dot on this without any problems. But the best thing about it is that when you put that red dot here, you're not gonna forget about your standard sights, because these sights actually do work with most of the MOS optics that are out there, which is fantastic because I do like to use both. I don't want to disable my standard sights when I put the MOS. So let's put some 5 more rounds through this gun, and then we'll talk about the trigger. One of my favorite parts about this gun. And then we'll try to come up with a reasonable conclusion. So, let's see if I can hit one of those flappy pedals, because why not? Haven't been out on the range in a while. And you can tell that I haven't been on the range in a while because I missed my first 2 shots. But at least I did hit the other 3, so more or less decent. Maybe I will warm up later to this review. So let's talk about the trigger. Double check, there's nothing anywhere. All right, the trigger is actually from Timney triggers. It upgrades the trigger pull weight to about 3 pounds. As you can see, there's the same safe action system here on this trigger with that little red pre-trigger, just like the standard Glock trigger. But here are where the things get better. Not only you have a more defined pre-travel, you also have that, You can see it in a lot of tactical pistols. You have a little bit of that extra tiny little bit of that before it actually breaks. Now the break on this trigger is butter crisp. It's super crisp. I absolutely love it. But there's one thing that contributes to that crispness is that reset, the trigger reset. Because this trigger, the whole assembly, the whole trigger assembly is upgraded in this gun. But there's one very important spring that just does not exist in a regular trigger, in the regular trigger on your standard Glock. The spring basically goes right at the very top of this pin right here, and what it does, it creates the reverse tension. So once the trigger, once you break the trigger, you have that instant reset. And so rapid firing this gun is just feels like that's what it's meant to do. And to finish up this review, I'm actually gonna do the rapid fire. And I think I had, no, this one's empty. Aha! This is a 10 round, California compliant, just in case if you live in California and are planning to submit to the tyranny that we have over there. Never mind, actually this is 40 Smith & Wesson, this is 9mm. So let me see if I have some 9mm hanging out here. No, I actually don't. But I do have some in the car. Let me bring some from the car. All right, I'm back here with the ammo. Luckily I had some extra, so let's do some rapid fire test of this gun. One thing that I had as a concern for this particular pistol is because whenever it comes to messing around, right, with the weight distribution, with obviously the slide weight has been dropped significantly in this gun with all the cutouts. The tension, the spring on the guide rod has been upgraded. It's a tougher spring. Usually whenever it comes to that modification of the weight, of the weights, you have, you open up the door, the potential to malfunction, because now you need more power to kick the slide back and to make sure that it locks back and cycles properly. But I'm using a very, very simple basic ammo, nothing high grain. I think this is 114 grain, and so far it's working perfectly. But let's do a rapid fire test. I'm not sure how many rounds I have. Let's see. Complaints. Do I have any complaints? Well, besides the visual complaints, stippling does not look fantastic. The magwell, weird color, does not look fantastic. I'm personally not a fan of barrels, different color barrels. I understand what the purpose of this is, to make you see that it is an upgraded barrel, but honestly, I'm just fine with all black, everything black. I like the red on the trigger, but everything else black I think would be better. But again, these are the aesthetics, this is the looks. To me, what matters is the practicality and functionality. And in this gun, everything so far works flawless. And whenever it comes to the practicality, I think everything is spot on whenever it comes to slide release, whenever it comes to the sides, the barrel being threaded, the aggression on the grip. And we have 10 rounds in this magazine. Let's do a rapid fire test. Hopefully without any problems. Without any problems. Valentine Arms Glock Threshold. What's your threshold? 5 rounds. Oh, this is bigger also. You got your ears?
Yep.
So far so good.
So far so good.
Wow, not bad. How
Not
was the
bad at all.
kickback?
Oh, non-existent.
Wow.
You can go really fast with this one. Really, really fast.
Beautiful.
Okay, what's the rapid? Rapid fire. Yeah, it works.
It works.
It's a success.
It works good, man.
Go ahead, give it a shot. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
It is as good as I thought it was.